lovely people, Kitten here, and I'm bringing you your pattern of the month. This month I've come up with something really different and cutesy and girly for you. If you don't know me, my name is Kitten and I pop in every month with a tutorial for the knitting patterns that are available on my email list. So if you're on your email list, you've got your knitting pattern. If you're not on your email list, it's on the website for a short time and then it goes into Amazon as a download. It's November, getting chilly. We're making lace, little cutesy leg warmers. Scrunch them up, a little frill on the bottom. If you're not a frilly person, you can leave the frill off. I've given you loads of options how you can customise it, add bits on, take bits off, make it how you want to make it, all written in my beautiful, dead easy to follow beginner style. So let me show you how to do this. I don't often give you yarn advice and information with the free patterns, mainly because I don't want to restrict you. It's absolute nonsense that you have to make the project in the yarn that the pattern is. There are a few very rare exceptions, but most of the time that's just a sell-on yarn. Double knitting is double knitting, chunky is chunky. I'm going to make a little bit of exception in this case, with the caveat that yes, this pattern is for double knitting. You can work this in anything. If you work the big frill, it does tend to be yarn hungry. That's my only comment. You will get a much nicer frill in a double knitting because it'll stick out better because the yarn's got more body than what I'm using. I'm using the Shhh. I'm using the Shhh firstly because I love it. It's a very light, delicate, it is a double knitting, it doesn't look like it. Double knitting is not to do with thickness of the yarn, it's to do with the space it takes up on the needle. It's the slight difference. I want to create something more formal looking, something more officey that you can wear over your tights. If you've got some of these really skinny little leggings and jeggings, you can just put over that, over your little frill, over your little boots, look really cute. I wanted something just pop on your ankles that I can wear poodling about at home just to keep the little chill away from my feet. There's no weight to Shhh. Yeah, excuse the needles. I've had to put it on my circular needles because I'm working on the advent patterns and I got so much in work. Yes, I am that person that just keeps casting on. I have so much in work that it goes on forever. I've got 5 or 6 pairs, well, oddments, of 4mm, and they're pretty much all in use. We've cast on 60. The thing about the Shhh, and look how much space that takes out, but actually, if you squish it all up to work, it's tiny. This is so light and delicate. I've got a couple of jumpers in this now. It's so light and so warm. Honestly, you don't know where you're wearing it. And if my skin is so sensitive nowadays with my health, it's absolutely brilliant because it's just so warm, but I don't know I've got it. Squishes up really tiny. So we've cast on 60. I have done, oops daisies. It's a bit oversensitive, this spring thing. I need something a bit more solid now that we've got our permanent house. Cast on 60, knit 1, purl 1. I'll give a quick refresher for you. If you don't know knit, if you don't know your ribs, you just go in, knit, yarn is at the back, work a knit stitch, then you have to bring the yarn to the front for your purl stitch. You go in and you work your purl stitch. You have to take the yarn to the back, go in, work slowly with Shhh. It does take a little bit of experience handling it, simply because it's so light, so delicate. It will knit to 4-ply patterns. Did I say that? Can't remember. Brains of a goldfish. Knit. You can tell which is which. Although it's an even number of stitches, you're always starting with a knit stitch, which is easy peasy peasy. You can tell which is which because there's a little bump across the front of that, and that's a purl to bring the stitch to the front, so you have a bump. The knit stitch just looks like a flat row of chains, and you're putting the bulk bump of the stitch at the back. Whoops, daisy, see, that's one disadvantage of it. Going slow and concentrating. So we're going to do a purl. When you start, when you very first start, you think, oh, this is such a pain. I've got to take the yarn forward, I've got to take it back, I've got to bring it round. Once you get going and you get your speed up, let me see if I can do it. It's not as easy with this because you don't need it. What I actually do is I'm using the yarn to pull the stitch off the needle. I'm not taking the stitch off the needle before I do the next one. That's something you will get with practice and speed. Right, now we're going to start the lace pattern. The actual pattern is a 7-stitch repeat. So when you do your row of knit, row of purl to start your pattern off, you're going to be adding 3 along the line evenly to make your pattern. If you need a bigger, wider leggings, then you just add in blocks of 7 and you will be absolutely fine. The whole thing will work out. I have simplified this pattern a little bit. It is a very, very simple introduction to lace knitting. It's a 4-row pattern, 3 of which are just knits and purls. There's only 1 row that actually has got the lace pattern on it, which is what we're going to do now. I have also, if you're an experienced lace knitter and you just want to pick up the pattern and the terms, you will notice it's slightly different. This is for those that don't understand that yarn forward isn't always the same thing in lace work, and they might grow stitches and lose stitches. You'll see what I mean. It's very, very simple. So, right, going to knit. We're going to bring the yarn to the front and we're going to wrap it round, and we're going to purl 1. That grows a stitch and it's going to give you your lace eyelet. Then we're going to purl 1, 2, 3. We're going to purl 3 together. So we're losing 2 stitches. We're going to purl. We're not going to do anything at all with that yarn. We're going to go straight into a knit. Straight over the top into a knit, so that's grown a stitch. So you've gained a stitch here where you wrapped it round, and here when you went over the top, and you lost those 2 stitches when you worked 3 together. That literally is all the pattern is. You knit, you bring forward and wrap, you work 1 purl, 2, you purl 3 together, you purl 1, you don't do anything at all, do not move that yarn, knit with it. So knit, bring it forward, wrap it, work a purl, 1, 2, purl 3 together, like that, purl 1, straight into knit 1, and when you spread it out you can see that's going to be an eye hole with a little lace eyelet. Where have we? There's your bunch of 3 purled together. There's your eyelet that side. There's your eyelet that side. And you're going to have 2 knit stitches dividing each section. I'll show you again, and then you can stop and start and replay as much as you like. So we did the knit, didn't we? We've got, they're only short rows, so you don't need to stop in the middle. Yarn forward, knit 1. So we've got knit 1. You're going to bring the yarn forward and wrap, and you're going to work a purl stitch. 1, 2, 3. You purl 3 together, purl 1, straight away knit 1. You're going to go all the way along to that. That's your pattern row, and then you've got 3 plain rows. I'll come back and show you what it looks like when I've got a bit further down the line. Count your stitches when you get to the end of the row, just to make sure you've still got the right amount. If you haven't, you can bet your bottom dollar you've either forgotten to do that first wrap, or you've purled 2 together instead of 3 together. So just take back gently along the line and look for it. This is how your pattern forms. You've got your 2 knit stitches together there. You can see where the purl together cluster, and you've got your little eyelets for your lace. Once you get your first, hold on, let me put the light on, the sun's gone in. And glorious sunshine all day today. Once you've got your pattern laid out, you'll be able to see it. So that's a knit, forward, wrap, purl. Your next 3 purl together, you'll be able to look back and see where you gathered your last 3 for the purl. It's the centre of where you're gathering now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I'm trying to work that. You're purling. You're doing absolutely nothing, and you can see your line of knit stitches coming up there, and then you're ready to start your next pattern. Go. I'm not going to do mine very long. These are actually for me. I am actually. This is why I'm doing it in Shhh, because I want to wear them. I don't want them very long. I want to wear them about the house. But as I say, I want them really smart and pretty for you to just sort of, if you've got to be smart office coat or something like that, you can wear them over tights, over tight jeggings, leg warmers, that kind of thing. You can do this bit as long as you like. You could make them 3/4 length. You could make them long to slouch down. I'm pretty much there, and then I'm going to put a frill on the bottom. I might do a couple more patterns, because you can't go back and add more. Once you're done with this one. I might do a couple more patterns, and then I'll show you how to add the frill. You can work as much of the lace pattern as you like. Let's spread it out so you can see it. Really pretty little gathered lace pattern. You can do as much as you like. If you want it to go up to your knee, just keep going. That's not a thing. I've worked stocking stitch, row of purl, row of plain before I do the frill. If you don't want to work a frill, work a matching rib on the other side. Cast off, that'll be absolutely fine. If you want to put a little bit of a ruffly frill on the bottom, you have loads of options. They all basically work the same. If you want a really full frill, and just let me find a good spot to be. Right, I'm just going to knit the first one because it's easy now. You're going to knit one, don't take it out, yarn forward, knit one, don't take it out, yarn forward, knit one. You have made 5 into 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It makes a very full frill. I'll show you on my other one. It is very yarn hungry. Doesn't matter if you're using Shhh, but it makes a very full frill. If you want to do just a little bit of a frill, knit one, yarn forward, knit one. You've put 3. See the difference? You've put 5 in there, you've put 3 in there. Whatever you do, it sits beautifully flat in the little stitches. It just puffs out a little bit. Lovely. If you want to do a combination, you could do 5 and then 3 and then 5 and then 3. I'm doing 5, so I'm going to go back, yarn forward. That's the 5. That bottom stitch will expand to fit everything in. Relax your hands, work in a manner relaxed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do that in every single stitch along there. If you want it to go even less of a frill, you could knit 1, make 3, knit 1, make 3. You will economise on the yarn. You'll just get a little bit of a kick, like a bit of a fabric puff around it. You won't get a big deep ruffle. So do that. Keep going as long as you like. Make as much. The longer you go, the more it'll drape and look more flowy. The shorter you go, the more it'll stick out like a tutu, basically, I think. The longer you go, the more of a frill flounce you'll have on it. If you want to make the end kick out even more, you get another needle. I tell you, between all this and the knitting pattern and the advent calendar, I'm running out of needles left, right and centre. If you want to make the last little bit of the frill really kick out, get into the front and the back of every stitch along, and then straight away cast on. Bear in mind, at this point you will have over 600 stitches on the needle. It is yarn hungry, it is a lot, but with Shhh you get this lovely soft floofy effect that's really, really pretty. It's one of these patterns you have to not look of getting to the end. It takes a long time to knit across these stitches. This is why I've got one and then I started again to do the other. It takes a little while to get right the way across. So it's one of these things you have to relax and enjoy the process. Just concentrate on your knitting, let your head drift off. Don't get frantically, oh, I've got to get finished, I've got to get finished. Just relax and enjoy the process. Last stages. There's your frill. I did the into the front, into the back, and then cast off for the last row. Just that took me just over 3 hours. Those 2 rows. It's a lot of stitches. That's the very full one. When it comes to sewing up, it's lace. Work from the front and just go across. Oops, and pull it together like that. Don't pull it tight. Let it do what it wants to do. It'll all blend in. See, that is part of the pattern. That's not where we're sewing up. That's where we're sewing up. The line we've sewn up. So just gently pull it together. There we go. How much fun is that?